Have you ever wondered what the gods actually look like? I mean, way before photographs or movies, how did people picture them? Well, one artist, Raja Ravi Varma, basically gave a face to an entire subcontinent's mythology. His paintings didn't just show gods and heroes, they defined them for millions. Okay, let's get into this. See, Raja Ravi Varma took these ancient, sprawling epics from India, stories that had been passed down for centuries, and he did something totally revolutionary with them. He painted them with European realism. So for the very first time, people were seeing these mythological figures on canvas with realistic bodies, with light and shadow. They looked like they could step right out of the frame. Suddenly, these deities felt real, relatable, and incredibly present. So today, we're going to use his amazing artwork as a kind of visual map to help us understand one of the most complex characters in literature, Lord Krishna, and his absolutely central role in the great epic, the Mahabharata. Right, so let's set the stage and introduce our two main players. On one side, you have Raja Ravi Varma, who's often called the father of modern Indian art. He was a master with a brush, and his whole genius was making the divine seem familiar. And on the other side, you have Lord Krishna, an avatar of the god Vishnu, a divine mastermind at the very center of the Mahabharata. This is really a story about where they intersect, how one man visualized what the other orchestrated. Okay, so let's jump into the epic itself, right? Where Krishna makes his grand entrance into the story. You know, Krishna doesn't show up with a bolt of lightning or anything. He's actually pretty low-key. He appears as a guest at the wedding ceremony for Princess Draupadi. But even though he's just a spectator, he instantly spots the hero Arjuna, who's in disguise. And that quiet little moment of recognition, that's the spark that ignites their powerful alliance. It helps that they're also cousins. And from that point on, Krishna becomes the go-to counselor for the 5 Pandava brothers. But this brand new alliance? Well, it's about to face its biggest test in one of the most infamous scenes in the entire epic. So the Pandavas get tricked into a rigged game of dice by their rivals, the Kauravas, and they lose everything. Their money, their kingdom, and in a final horrible moment, they even lose their shared wife, Draupadi. And this painting just brilliantly shows that moment of crisis. This is Ravi Varma's Draupadi Vastraharan. It captures the absolute public humiliation of Draupadi as the Kauravas try to disrobe her in front of the whole court. In her darkest hour, she prays to Krishna, and even though he's not physically there, he intervenes with a miracle, creating an endless supply of cloth that saves her honor. Varma just nails the raw human terror and the unseen divine power all in one frame. And here's the thing you have to understand. This wasn't just a personal insult. It was a violation of Dharma, the moral and cosmic order of the universe. This one act of injustice is what sets the entire stage for the massive, catastrophic war that's about to come. So years pass, the Pandavas finish their long exile, and the drums of war are getting louder. But first, Krishna, the master diplomat, makes one last effort to keep the peace. Before any talks can even start, both sides rush to get Krishna on their side. But he gives them a choice. And it's really a test of wisdom versus raw power. They can have his entire, massive army, or they can have just him, all alone and totally unarmed. The Kaurava prince Duryodhana doesn't even think twice. He's so arrogant, he immediately snatches up the army. But Arjuna, he makes this incredibly profound choice. He asks only for Krishna himself, to just be his guide and his charioteer. It's exactly the kind of quiet, dramatic moment that reveals character, the kind Ravi Varma was so good at painting. Arjuna chose divine wisdom over military might, and that one decision would change everything. With that, war is now inevitable. The two massive armies gather on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And it's right here, in this moment, that Krishna, the humble charioteer, delivers his most profound teachings. As the horns of war blow, Arjuna just panics. He looks across the battlefield and sees his family, his cousins, his uncles, his teachers, and he just puts down his bow. He refuses to fight. So Krishna starts to counsel him, and he explains his very reason for being. He is the divine, made manifest, born to restore Dharma whenever it's in danger. He teaches Arjuna about karma yoga, the path of selfless action. The core idea is this: You have to perform your duty, your dharma, with everything you've got, but you have to let go of the results. You're not fighting for victory or glory, you're fighting because it is the right thing to do. And then Krishna reveals something just staggering. He tells Arjuna that the fate of all these warriors is already sealed by a will far greater than his. Act not as the killer, he says, but simply as my instrument. You see what he did there? The burden of the choice is gone. All that's left is the duty to act. And to really prove his point, Krishna unveils his universal form, the Vishwarupa. In this incredible vision, Arjuna sees the entire cosmos, all of creation, all of destruction, all of time itself, all contained within Krishna. I mean, it's a concept so huge, it's almost impossible to paint. Even a master like Varma would be challenged to get that infinite scale onto a single canvas.
So, in the end, the Pandavas do win the war, but the cost is just immense. And this leaves us with two powerful legacies that are forever linked.
On one hand, you have Raja Ravi Varma, who took these complex, epic characters and made them understandable to everybody through his art. He literally created the visual language for modern India's mythology. And on the other hand, you have Lord Krishna, whose conversation with Arjuna became the Bhagavad Gita, a philosophical guide on life and duty that people still turn to thousands of years later.
And Verma's legacy is, if anything, more powerful than ever. Just in 2023, one of his paintings shattered auction records. It's just a testament to how his vision continues to grab us. He didn't just paint stories, he created cultural landmarks that are now literally priceless.
Which really brings us to a final thought to chew on. When a brilliant artist visualizes a sacred text, are they just preserving an old story, or are they actually creating a new one, shaping how millions of people will see and understand that story forever? It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the way a story is told is just as important as the story itself.